Yo, what up? We're doing the Pickems. My voice is probably sounding really bad right now because my computer is shit. And I can't record a proper video when CSGO is in proper windowed and it just cuts out my voice. My camera's probably stuttering, but guess what? It's the only way I can record Pickems and I've got interesting things to say, so you're gonna fucking watch. I don't give a shit. Right, okay, so this year the Pickems work kind of differently. First of all, you spend £8, you buy a coin, which gives you free souvenir packs, and then you don't need to buy any of the stickers. You just do the pick'ems, right? Before you have to buy every single sticker, and I think it might have even ended up costing more than £8. I don't know. It's £8, 850 euros, $10. So I think this time around I like it better because I just buy the pass because I like to get the souvenir drops, and it's a good value overall. There's the previously the best coin you could get was golden. I've done it once before, and of course, because I'm just that much of a G, I got gold, easy. Cologne 2015. Um, so now we're not gonna get gold, we're gonna get fucking diamond because that's the max it goes to. Should say here. Oh no, it doesn't. Well, you gotta trust me. Goes to diamond. Right. So let's get on with the pick'ems. So I'll start off with the least interesting pick, and that's the 0-3 pick. I'm going between two teams, and those two teams are Vici and Greyhound. A lot of people say Windstrike and Furia as well. They have them in that sort of level, even like Spirit. But my logic is that they got out of their mind. Actually, wait, who didn't? One of them didn't get out of the miner. It was so the Asia and CIS, I think. So yeah, I think Windstrike and Vici are the ones that didn't that got out of the last chance. Greyhound got out of the weakest one, the Asia miner, and Vici didn't even get out of there. So I'm gonna pick Vici because Asia is the worst miner, and then it's CIS. Uh, Therefore I think they're better than Windstrike, and Greyhound's pretty shit as well. But Greyhound was able to beat Vici, so I'm gonna go with Vici. But it could be any of those teams. Luckily, there's two teams that got 0-3, so we know that you know uh we can be certain that one of that like Vich will go out. I'm pretty certain they will. Moreover, they are playing Fnatic, so these are the teams ranked in order from 1 to 16 as the pros rank them. They got all the pros, so all the what is it? 16 times 5, 80? I think it's 80 pros in this teams. The 80 pros they ranked each team and then they took their rankings and they put this together. So they have Fnatic as best in RG Cloud9. So for the first matchups, it will be Fnatic versus Vici, then NRG versus Windstrike, Cloud9 versus Greyhound, and so on and so forth. Let me just make sure I'm not talking of my ass about this. But if I'm not, which I don't think I am, then Vici is not beating Fnatic, so they're definitely going 0-1 right off the go. So that helps. And then, unless like there's upset, so if Fnatic beats Vici, which is very likely, NRG beats Moonstrike, which is likely, Cloud9 beats Greyhound, which is likely, Nip beats for etc etc etc. Ideally, we'd get these 8 teams as the winners, and then Fnatic, for example, would play the worst out of these 8 teams. So Avangard, right? They're the 8th team, yeah. So they play Avangard, and then NRG would play G2, Cloud9 ends, and similarly Vici would play Renegades, who beat them in the Asia Minor, and they got out first in the Asia Minor. So they know how they play, and I'm pretty confident that Renegades can beat them. And then if they lose that match as well, and if Renegades is the worst team here that they can play, right? If there's an upset, then one of these teams will be ahead, and they'll play like either Avangard or G2 or Vitality and Snip, Cloud9 or NRG. That is if they lose, which they most likely will. So I am very confident that they'll go 0-2 as well, because all of these teams I feel like they can beat them. They should beat them. You know, it's not like they can get luck out and they can get Greyhound who they can upset. So they can go 0-2, and then for the last matchup, obviously it's weaker teams, but I can see them losing a best of 3. As I said, they lost a best of 3 in the Asia minor to Greyhound. I think picking them as 0-3 with this format, with this major, with so many best of 3s in this major, I think it's a very well, not a very safe pick, but it's a safer pick than before, and you can be quite confident that you'll get them. So I'm gonna go with them here. Let me just check. Yeah, so it's Renegades Avant-Garde, is that correct? Yeah, Renegades Avant-Garde, Fnatic Vici, Tyloo Vitality. Let's see, where's Tyloo? Tyloo's here, and Vitality's here. Yeah, so basically it's them and then Windstrike and NRG. So second, second last, third, third last, fourth, fourth last, and etc. So um, and that's how it worked for the rest of them as well. So right, we'll go with Vici here. I think I've explained myself enough. I don't know who they've got, like this Freeman guy, I think his name is, and they have choke joking, well, whatever the fuck, I don't give a shit. Right, okay. Now let's get to the interesting stuff. 3-0. Who do I think will go 3-0? There's three main contenders I have. Number one, Fnatic. Fnatic, they played that I Buy Power Masters. I don't think they've played many online games. At I Buy Power Masters, they played with this lineup, which is Crims, Twist, Brolan Exist, and JW. I didn't. No, Twist and Exist just rhyme and they sound similar. I thought I said like one of them twice. Um, so let's start with the good things about him. Crims, amazing player, incredible player. He's been playing so well in 2018. He was a top 10 player in the world. I think he got ninth place if I'm not wrong. Um, but yeah, very consistent. He gets his numbers. Whatever happens, you can rely on him. Probably the best player in this minor. Uh, Second good thing going about them, Twist. He's a really good player when he's feeling it. He reached the semi-final with Fnatic a year ago, 2 years ago. Was No, it was a year and a half ago. No, it was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago at Atlanta E League with Fnatic. Back then they had Dolof, Dennis, Crims, Twist, and Disco Dublin, and they lost to Australis. And there, Twist played really well. I think he was like their best player. So if Twist is feeling it, he can be really good. But then again, we don't know that this is for sure. I'll get into that later. And third positive factor I have for them, Broline can be good, but that's not my main factor. They played well at iBuy Power Masters. They went there and they played Liquid 2-1. They got smashed on two maps, and they played Liquid close on one map and edged it out. So that it can be a bit of a deceiving result. I think the maps were like 16-6, 16-9, and not. I don't even think it was 16-9. It was like 16-6, 16 something like that as well, and then 19-17 to Fnatic, I think. So they can hang around Liquid, and Liquid are a very good team, so it's unfair to compare them. But the fact that they can hang around, that's a good thing, you know? And I think they're a quality team, a quality side, and they'll definitely get out. I'm just not sure about the 3-0. Um, Second team I'm considering. Oh, actually, let me just say this quickly. The negative things about them. So why am I not going 3-0 with them? Number one, it's I'll start off from biggest worries to worst worries. So first of all, as I already mentioned it, Twist can sometimes not be motivated to play very well. He infamously in 2015, I think, or something like that, Nip wanted to recruit him, and Nip back then was like a really good team, um, and he just denied them so he could play with friends, and that was always kind of susp to me. Like they he doesn't have the motivation to be the best. He just wants to play with his friends and do whatever he wants. He wants to, get to be mediocre with friends. That's never a good sign. I don't know how motivated he is for this major. If he's motivated, then that's really good. If he's not motivated, then he's not going to be practicing very hard, and that's going to be a factor. But I think he'll be motivated, so it's not that big of a worry. Worry number two is Brolan. He played at iBuy Power Masters. I don't think he had like great numbers. It was mainly Twist and Crims, and he was like sort of as the third star. But if you have Brolan as the fourth star, then you're pretty okay. Brolan, he's good and he's got a lot of potential, but I don't think he's that player yet. That player that will just step up and carry and like push you through a map if Crims or Twist is having a bad game. Uh, so that's my worry. But again, it's a minor worry because Twist and Crims are so good. And if he has to be the third best player, then that's an okay role for him. Uh, Worry number three, and that's where we start to get serious. JW. He is AWPing right now. I don't think he's the main AWPer. At iBuy Power Masters, Twist would pick up the AWP from time to time. But JW is like the sort of go-to AWPer. And you might be thinking, but JW's always been their AWPer. No. I mean, he was when they were the best, but since they've been shit, and when I say shit, I mean like bottom half of top 10 ish, like seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. Ever since, JW's been a rifler because they had Draken, they had other people before that who would pick up the AWP, and JW was a rifler, but now he's back to an AWPer, and he hasn't been very good ever since the Fanatics thing. He's been playing bad, and if he's their AWPer, that means they're relying on him, and if he's bad, I don't know how good they're gonna be playing. You know what I mean? So I can't really put my trust in JW that much. Um, so that's a bit of a worry. I don't know how much he can support when he's opening, so we've got to see how this plays out, but this is definitely a big worry. And finally, number four, Exist. Exist is not the best in-game leader. He fucks map vetoes. There's a lot more best of threes, and when you can't do map vetoes properly, and he's fucked a lot of map vetoes in his career, you can trust him to fuck up a map veto. Um, with so many map vetoes here, I think Fnatic might be in a bit of trouble. Um, Also, he's not particularly good at fragging. Like, he's not a particularly good fragging game leader. He can know the zone, but he's also not good in terms of the tactical aspect. He's sort of like, I don't even want to say jack of all trades because he's just like below average and everything, you know? He's not particularly bad at anything, but he's not particularly good at anything or at all good on anything. But then again, Fnatic, they've had him for a long time. They haven't kicked him, so maybe he knows what he's doing. Maybe he's doing things behind the scene. Maybe he's just able to get the player morale up. Maybe there's things we don't understand and they've been functioning well. So maybe I'm just talking out my ass. I don't fucking know. I just don't trust in this team that much. I don't get the gut feeling with them, and therefore I'm not gonna go with my 3-0 pick for them. Although I think that they very likely will get 3-0 anyways. Um, Now let's go on to the second team I'm considering for the 3-0. And by the way, if you're thinking you're taking so fucking long with 3-0, when I get this done, then I'll start like rolling off the rest of the teams much quicker. So just bear with me here for a second while I go through all the teams, and then we will, start putting them down. So the other team I'm considering out of the three is Ents. So Ents, they came out of the EU minor at first spot. They beat Valiant in a best of three. They beat Windigo in a best of three, which wasn't very impressive. They My boys, the Bulgarian guys, Windigo, they beat them on Mirage 16-12 and on Inferno 16-3. So Inferno was a complete shit show. Alu just nutted in their mouth. But on Mirage, we actually had a lot of close rounds that we lost. Not close rounds, sorry. Rounds that we should have converted that we didn't convert. We choked. We choked. We had advantages. We lost like a 1v3, a 2v4, or something like that. Several rounds like that, and it just wasn't a good showing. We could have definitely beaten Ents and taken up off of them, but we didn't. So they beat Ents, Valiants, and then Ents beat North. I think it was North that they played in the upper bracket, and then North went down to the lower bracket, and Vitality beat them. Yeah, that's how it turned out. So they beat North as well, but none of these teams are particularly good. Ents have been looking really good. CeRq's been firing on all cylinders. Obviously, he's been hyped up for quite a while, but he's never played in a very very big tournament, a very big showing where he can display his Orcus skill. He's good, but he's not fully proven yet. Alu is very proven. He can be good against big teams, against small teams. He's shown it time and time again. He's a really good player, friends. And Ents overall are a good squad. They've been working hard, and I can definitely see them going 3-0. Um, but I wouldn't go with them as my secure pick. I don't have much more to say on Ents. I haven't watched them that much. I watched them in the EU minor, and they played pretty well. But the EU minor didn't have very many quality teams. Mousesports won themselves. They didn't get out. I think it might have been Ents that. No, it wasn't. Ents were in the other group. So yeah, they never got to play Mousesports because they didn't get out. So I'm kind of tempered on my hype with Ents. And the final team I'm considering is NRG. NRG, my boys with CeRq, represent Bulgaria. I think they will get out 3-0. They are my pick. Uh, NRG is a consistent international team. That Firemine lineup has proven themselves at big tournaments. They've reached semi-finals and finals of mediocre tournaments. I think it was like 2 or 3 tournaments, like bigger tournaments, where they reached the semi-final or final, and they did pretty well. They've shown that they can hang with the best. They should have definitely got into the face it major, but they fucked their minor. They choked. It happens. Now they're here. Now they're here to win, and I'm pretty confident with my pick of NRG. Yes, there's a potential of them choking again. I don't think it will happen. You know, it will help them that they're playing an easy team at first, which is Windstrike. It will get them going with an early win, and then they get to play a slightly oh no, it's not an easier team. It's going to be a bit of a tougher team after that. If there's no upsets, then they get to play who? G2? Yeah, G2. They get to play G2, which won't be easy for them, but I think they can do it. And it's a best of one. And then that's if there's no upsets, so they can play G2 or someone below. So Avangard, Renegades, etc. G2, I can see them getting upset, but I don't think they will. I think they're better than G2. I think they'll beat them. It's a best of one might be a bit tricky, but I still think NRG will win against Avangard. I think Avangard can upset them again, but I don't think they will. Renegades, I think they'll be Vega could pull something out the bag. I'll get onto Vega later. Tyloo they can beat, etc. So I can see them getting to 2-0 pretty confidently. And then the 3-0 match is a best of three, and they'll be playing against a team like Cloud9 or NiP. Right, Cloud9 or below. They can play Fnatic. That's to know. It's impossible for Fnatic to play NRG at all in this format, and it's impossible for Vici to play Strike for the same reason because well actually if they get no, it's impossible. It's literally impossible for these two teams to play with this format. So um they could choke, but if they get up to a 2-0, which is very likely, I think they'll be able to close it down. They are a very quality team, especially if they're firing on all cylinders and they get going early, then I can see it happening. Actually, I lied. They could play these two teams if they're in like 2-2 or some shit, but I don't think both of these teams will be at 2-2. I'm saying if they're at 2-0, they can play themselves each other. They can play each other to get out 3-0. I'm gonna go with my pick for NRG. They've got the trio of stars, obviously. Let me read out the lineup. Well, I'm not reading it out. I'm remembering it. CeRq, Breeze, Daps, Fugly, and Ethan. Ethan, Breeze and CeRq are the trio of players, the trio of stars, and they are pretty good. They've shown good level. They've played up big international tournaments. They're proven. They are a secure pick for me. A lot of people would say don't go with NRG or Fnatic or ENCE for that matter for your 3-0 pick. Go with a wild card like Vega, like Renegades, like Tyloo, someone who can just get a streak and upset, and then pick the other 7 picks as your 7 confident teams. Because if you pick NRG and then they go 3-1, you can pick them here, so you've basically lost 2 points. A lot of people will say that, and with the previous majors, I agree. But the combination of best of threes to advance and to get eliminated, well, actually, that wouldn't stop them from getting 3-1. Well, okay. The actually it would if they were at 2-0. So the combination of the more best of threes and the combination of the team ranking, I don't think that will happen. So I'm pretty confident NRG will make it out 3-0. I think NRG and Fnatic will make it out 3-0. I'm going to go with the NRG pick, just because I have slight doubts on Fnatic. Right. So we made our first pick. I said the rest will be a bit quicker. So let's go right to it. Fnatic and ENCE, we already talked about them. And these two teams are the best teams. Then a notch down is ENCE, and then a notch after that is Cloud9 and NiP. Cloud9, they played at the E-League Invitational. Their squad right now is Flusher, Kiyoshima, Rush, Automatic, and Zelsis. Zelsis is replacing Golden. If you go and check the stickers, Golden has a sticker because he's technically the coach. Sorry, he's technically the fifth player, and Zelsis is their coach. So technically, Zelsis is standing in, although they intended for that to happen. But Golden will not be playing because he has an injury. So they don't have their in-game leader, which casts a bit of doubt on them. They played well at the League Invitational. They beat FaZe in a best of three, and then they beat Big, and they got to the final from the upper bracket, and then FaZe got to the final from the lower bracket, and then FaZe won the big final 2-1 by edging out Cloud9 on train, or maybe they stomped them. I don't remember. Guardian went nuts and FaZe won. But they shouldn't have won because they should have had a map advantage coming from the upper seed. It's just that the format at E-League wasn't that good. It should have been a best of 5 with one map advantage to Cloud9, and if that was the case, I think Cloud9 would have won. Right. Actually, maybe they would have won. It would have been close for sure. But it's kind of unfair how overall Cloud9 won more maps against FaZe because they beat them 2-0 and then they lost 2-1. So they won 3 maps, FaZe won 2 maps, and yet still they lost the tournament. So Cloud9 definitely showed a good showing at E-League. Keo was playing really well. Flusher was playing decent. Automatic is always good. You know, I've heard that he practices a lot and puts in the time from Foreign's videos. He made a really good video about him where he said that he always practices and puts in the work. Majors are very important to him, obviously. He'll be practicing, and it's someone you can put your trust in to do well. So Cloud9 are definitely a good team. A bit of doubt about them if it's a honeymoon period. If E-League was their honeymoon period and now they're just gonna go down. I think that it's definitely a honeymoon period. But I'm just not sure if Katowice will be part of that honeymoon period. I think it will, and therefore I'm gonna put them as a pick here above Nip. So I'm going in descending order here. So I think I'm more confident on Cloud9 because I've seen them play well on LAN while I haven't seen Nip. But Nip is also a very strong pick because they have um, Rez, who can be very explosive, very good, entry fragger. He can frag out a lot. They have Forest, who is a veteran, amazing player in the past. I don't know how good he is right now. Um, They have Lecro, who is a star with very big potential. A bit of doubt on him because he is obviously the in-game leader, so I don't know how we'll be playing. I don't know who's been the star fragger for that team, who hasn't, but he's definitely a good player. Dennis, definitely a solid player. He can take a bit more of a supportive role, and he can also frag. He's a sort of hybrid player, and he can do it all. He's just a very good, solid player. And then you have Get Right, who is an experienced veteran who can um, do the more supportive elements. So I've heard again that he's also one of those guys who has a very good work ethic and he's willing to put in the time to learn the smokes. He's well, I can't speak for him because I've obviously never spoken to him, played on the team with him, so I can't know how humble he is. But he seems like the sort of guy who would be willing to step down and sort of give up the star roles to the young players who um are just better. And Get Right obviously is older, so he can do it himself. So I think they've got a very good balance of a team there. They showed a good showing at Lisbon, which is like their last big event that they played, where they reached the final and they lost against Navi. So they've shown that they can hang with top tier opposition. And I think Nip will be putting in the practice and they will be good at this major. So I'm gonna go with Nip here. Then we have so these two teams I sort of deem them at the same sort of ranking. Maybe I'd even have Nip above Cloud9. I don't know. I'd have Cloud9 just because they've shown that recently they can be good. Therefore, I can be more confident in them. Although I think Nip has a higher skill ceiling, perhaps. Obviously, also I forgot to mention about Flusher. He's at a major and he is pretty good at majors. Recently, that hasn't stood up, but in like the first 7 majors, I think he was really good consecutively over and over again. And I think with a solid team, I think he can be good again. Right. Okay. So we've got 3 more teams to pick. The next best team that I think is Vitality, just because of Zywoo. Zywoo is so good. He is a star player with a very high skill ceiling. He has very good aim. He has shown in the minor how well he can play. They got out second in the EU minor. They beat North in a best of 3. I think it was 2-1. They lost the best of 3 to, was it North? Yeah, they lost the best of 3 to North. Then they were in the lower bracket. They beat Valiance and then they beat North. And they got out second because of that. In the groups, they went out in first place, I want to say. Maybe I'm wrong. Where they beat maybe Mouse Sports, maybe Valiance. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this. Uh, but they're definitely a solid lineup. Zywu can frag, and they've got a lot of experience on that team. RPK, NBK, Apex, and Alex. So Alex is a British player, so obviously again represent half Brit, half Bulgarian. Well, I don't feel comfortable calling myself half Brit. When I get my British passport, I'll call myself a half Brit. Okay, cool. But yeah, so Zewu's obviously really good. Apex has shown flashes of brilliance, but there's a bit of doubt over him. He hasn't been playing at his best, at his top tier. So he's not the apex of old. He's good, but he's just not amazing as he used to be. He doesn't have that skill ceiling where he can just go. I can't even make that joke anymore. He can't just go like nuts. Um, or he hasn't shown it at least. Maybe he can. RPK, he had a really good stint in Envy in 2017. Ever since, he hasn't shown that again. On this team, I don't think he's like one of the main stars. I think he's like the third slash fourth best player on this team. Um, and yeah, so definitely can see why I'm doubting this team already when I consider all these factors. Then you've got to consider that NBK has tried in game leading before, and it's never succeeded for him in the long term. Vitality now is playing decently, so I think that it's working out better now. MBK sort of steps into this role a bit more. He's a bit more of the supportive player, but he can also put up numbers, you know. So MBK is definitely a very mature player. Um, and I definitely favor them to get out here. Maybe they don't, but I think they will. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't, however. And finally, I've got 2 picks and 3 candidates. So my 3 candidates are G2, Avangard, and Vegas Squadron. Um, let's start with G2. So they've played online and they've had decent showings against teams at the caliber of like teams of Vitality's level and below, even maybe Ence's level and below. They've shown that they can beat these sort of teams, play these sort of teams close online, and they've had a pretty decent streak recently. I think they're like 4-1 in terms of matches. They lost to Big, but obviously Big is a better team than most teams here. Maybe not the NRGs and Fanatics and etc. But then again, I'm not favoring G2 to beat any of those teams. Um, I'm favoring them to get out because they're better than all of like the teams below them here. Right. So G2, they have Shocks and Kenyes. They have Jax, Lucky, and Body. Sharks and Kenyas, obviously extremely high ceilings. They haven't been showing it recently, but they're good players and they can definitely show up and do some insane things uh, when they're feeling their game. And you can never count out for them to feel their game. And if they do, I think they can do really, really well at this minor. But then again, it's not something you can bargain on again. So I'm not gonna be like fully on into them and like have them as a solid pick. Like I'm not gonna like say they're better than Vitality, for example, who I think they can definitely be better than. I'm gonna temper my expectations with them a little bit. But they have shown good form online, and I think they can get out of this minor. They've been grinding a lot, and they've been playing against the small teams a lot. They've been playing big tournament qualifiers. Yes, not always successful, but they've been trying. They've been going for them. They've been playing in the open qualifiers. They haven't received many invites, and they've been like fighting ever since they kicked Existence and Smiths. They have been grinding away, and I think it will pay off in this major. I just have this sort of feeling. Um, with that being said, the other 2 teams are also great, and I'm gonna talk about Avangard. So Avangard, they played at the Ice Bucket. I was just about to say Ice Bucket Challenge. At the Ice Challenge, GG Bear Ice Challenge. They fucking did that on purpose. Why did you name your event Ice Challenge? What the fuck does it have to do with Ice? And why is it? Anyways, they played Navi close, and then they played not North. Heroic. No, not Heroic. No, they played North close. They lost 2-1, and then they played Navi close and they lost 2-1 again. So they had a decent showing, went out in last place, yes, but they played these teams close and they're decent teams. They have I've heard good things about Kicker on their team, Qickert. In case you're wondering who I'm talking about, because it's kind of weird how you pronounce his name. Um, I've heard good things about him. James played really well at the Ice Challenge. He really impressed me. He's also doing game leader in Opa. He definitely can go off. And that's why I'm considering them. Um, they also have Fitch, who played on Gambit. He showed good performance on Gambit. He played well there, and I think he's also a decent player with a decent ceiling. You know, he can do well. And Buster is someone I've heard has a high skill ceiling again. He can go off, he can be a very explosive player. No pun intended there. And so they're a solid pick. They're from Kazakhstan, and they're not playing in many tournaments, so they can surprise. And talking about teams that don't play in many tournaments and can surprise, Vega, who were able to get top 16 twice in a row, two majors in a row, by doing exactly that. The first time they had a different lineup. Right now they're playing with Tony Black, who they replaced. I don't remember who they replaced him with. Like they had someone else and they brought on Tony Black instead of him. I don't remember. Oh, it was Mig. It was Mig. Yes, yes, yes. Mig went to Gambit and then Tony Black came on. So obviously a downgrade. Mig was one of their best players, and but with this lineup, they got top 16 last time, and they haven't been going to many tournaments recently, Vega Squadron, and they've been sort of saving strats and preparing for this major. So they can definitely surprise, come out with a playstyle that no one expects, and I think they can get an upset in this tournament. And they can definitely get out, and I'm favoring them, and I'm sort of going on the sort of like the fact on the statistical sort of side of it. If they've gotten out top 16 on two majors, I feel like they can do it on the third one because they did the same thing twice in a row. It worked. They upset Nip once as well, the major before that. Oh no, was it the minor? I think it might have been the minor, yeah. Well, they've been known to upset teams. They've been known to they beat FaZe in a best of one, and they were able to get out. So don't write them out. They're a good team and they can definitely get out. So that's my logic for them. With that being said, the other two teams are pretty great. So out of these three teams, I think the strongest is G2. So I'm gonna go and pick them, and then it's between Avangard and Vega. And I'm really, really, really like I'm split on this. I'm really split. I was going with Vega, then I was going with Avangard, and I kept changing my mind. I'm gonna go with Avangard, and I'm gonna save it. Those were my initial picks. I feel like it was something similar. Um, I'm gonna go with Avangard, but I can definitely see how Vega can get out as well. Vega is very good at best of one upsets. About best of three, it will be harder, and they'll be playing a lot more best of threes than before. So I'm gonna go with Avangard here, and just to give you oh well, not you like only, but like just to put it into perspective, to see who Avangard will play. So first of all, they'll play Renegades, which might be a tough match. I can see it going in Renegades. It's like a 40, 60, 45, 55 to Avangard. If they win, they go up 1-0, and then they play a really good team. And then if they're playing one of these teams, they're definitely going 1-1. And when they go 1-1, they're playing like ideally it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll be playing like Renegades again, but obviously they can't play Renegades again under the Swiss system rules, so they be playing like Vega or some shit, or like G2, like the next closest, right? So G2 or Vega, I can see them also winning. It's a really it's like a 50-50 sort of, you get to that point and like it gets scrappy. Maybe they go 1-2 down, but then they're playing easier opponents, so they go 2-2, and then 3-2 again is a best of three. So you really can't predict these middling teams who they'll play with. Fnatic, you can be more confident, right? Because they play Vici, they probably go 1-0. Then they play like a sort of Hence Vitality G2 Avangard. Sorry, so like they play like an Avangard or like a Renegade or something below. They can beat them. They go 2-0, and you can bank on them going 2-0, and sort of then it's really easy to know that they're getting out. You can be very, very confident that Fnatic is getting out. With other teams, not so much. So I'm not quite sure on Avangard and G2. I can definitely see being wrong on this. I've babbled on for quite a while, so I think I'm just gonna end the video here. These are my picks. I'm confident in those picks, and I like them. I can see. I think it'll be both Fnatic and NRG 3-0, these three teams 3-1, and these three teams 3-2. And I'm fairly confident that NRG or Fnatic will get out 3-0, maybe even both of them. I'm fairly confident in NRG that they'll get out 3-0, backing my boy CeRq. He's gonna fucking pop heads at this major. I even sort of have him making top 8. I have NRG making top 8 sort of. If you look at the 8 legends from before, it's Astralis, Liquid, Navi, teams like that. So like these teams you can be confident on, but then there's Big, then there's Complexity, then there's Hellraisers, who are teams NRG can definitely beat. So I don't know why I'm speaking about that. I'll do Pickems for the group stage as well. But I'm just saying I'm backing my boy CeRq. He's getting out 2-0 here, 3-0 here, and he's gonna be popping heads at this major. I hope you enjoyed my pick'ems. I tried to go in depth and explain all my choices. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.